This gameplay video is brought to you by JXC24. Chainer Nightmare Adept versus Geist of St. Traft. We've got a pretty fast hand there, but nothing to do with it. Watch us mulligan into a one-lander. Alright, that's actually surprisingly decent. Let's keep that. We'll get rid, against my better judgment, we'll get rid of the Plague Crafter. I really like Kiki Jiki with Inferno Titan and a Recurring Nightmare, but we're not going to be able to reliably do Recurring Nightmare with that, so yeah, it'll have to be Kiki Jiki going away, I think. And hopefully we can get into something to sacrifice to Recurring Nightmare to cheat out the Inferno Titan with. Plague Crafter is going to control the board against Geist of St. Traft, I hope. They just looked at our hand with the Gitaxian Probe, so they know what's incoming. And there's our fourth land for Chainer, so we'll throw down the Canyon Slough. And then it's yet another land for us. Don't seem to struggle drawing into lands during this play session, so no turn 2 play either. We will pass. And there is the Containment Priest, so we definitely want that out of the way. This is... oh, if it wasn't cast, exile it instead. Well, that's relevant with the Recurring Nightmare. It's relevant with Bloodghast as well, so... yeah, Plague Crafter definitely needs to come in here, I think, to get rid of that. Might be that they counter it, of course. Could have Force Spike or something, not sure how spiky a player my opponent is, but that does enter. So it could be Chainer next turn, and then on turn 5 we can go Recurring Nightmare and Bloodghast and get the Plague Crafter back if we want to. Or we could always discard Bloodghast and just cast the Plague Crafter. So there's Geist of St. Traft. They did not go for the Cavern of Souls, so I'm guessing they don't have a 1-mana counterspell, because just holding up colourless there. Put Damnation, the Geist out of the way, but I think... yeah, they're just going to hold up counter magic from this point onwards. I think they were purposefully trying to get the Plague Crafter out of the way, so they might assume that they can counterspell their way out of it the rest of the game. So let's use this Damnation to wipe the Geist. They didn't know we had that. And then they can replay their Geist next turn, but then we'll be able to go Recurring Nightmare and get the Plague Crafter back out. I don't know if we've played lands that they didn't know about, actually, in hindsight. Maybe should have kept better track of that. This does assume that they can drop a land here, but... yeah, blue-white decks don't seem to struggle playing lands. It is a scry land, at least. So, yeah, they're not going to be able to play the Geist of St. Traft this turn. So we'll see if our opponent has any counter magic for us. There's another wipe in Toxic Deluge. Yeah, we'll play the Chainer, see if they want to counter that. They do allow it into play. So can they flash any creatures into play? I don't think I want to risk losing Chainer here. I don't think it's worth the 3 points of damage to lose Chainer. I don't know if this is likely to flash creatures into play. It's probably more likely a Voltron build of some kind. I'd love them to tap out into their Geist of St. Traft here, but instead it is Imprisoned in the Moon, which turns that into a land. Yeah, that's pretty rough, especially against a Rakdos list. So again, holding up double blue, we get into another land. Let's try the Inferno Titan, I think. At the very least, the Chainer becoming a land did accelerate us a little bit. So we will bolt our opponent when it enters. Does not have haste, unfortunately. Could have given it haste if Chainer was still in play. Now we need to see if we can win a game without Chainer or draw into... it'd have to be Wasteland. I think we've got Meteor Golem in this list as well, so we could go for that. Going to save the Bloodstained Mire for the Recurring Nightmare and Bloodghast. And they're doing something during our upkeep. That is mana short. Tap all lands a player controls. Nothing we can do about that. We could... yeah, crack the Bloodstained Mire there, but I don't think we really need to. So we're just going for Inferno Titan, turning sideways here. 5 cards left in our opponent's hand. Drawing another land. So we might as well do the Fire Breathing on the Inferno Titan. We'll bolt them. So that is 10 damage from that thing. And in response they go for Celestial Flare. Sacrifice an attacking or blocking creature, so it's a very control-y build. we do still get to lightning bolt them at least. They had to let us attack and trigger that in order to go for the Celestial Flare. I think they're just trying to buy themselves time before they get into their Geist of St. Traft again. I'm sure they would like to have had a couple of extra mana to protect their Geist of St. Traft and keep it in play. Unfortunately, we still have the recurring Nightmare. Got Rune-Scarred Demon now as well. So maybe it's... yeah, we can't go Rune-Scarred Demon and the Toxic Deluge. So we'll go for the Bloodghast. Bring back Plaguecrafter by sacrificing the Bloodghast. That brings the recurring Nightmare back to our hand. Plaguecrafter will obviously allow us to sacrifice itself. It can get rid of the Geist. And then we'll go for an untapped mana with Bloodstained Mire so that we can go for the recurring Nightmare again. And that will get us into the Bloodghast. Sacrifice the Bloodghast here. And that will, of course, get us into the Inferno Titan. So Inferno Titan comes back into play, we'll bolt them again, and now they've got an Inferno Titan to deal with. I think if they had a Swords or a Path, they would have used it on there, because this is a Reanimator deck. You really want to see the back of Inferno Titan. And they need fast mana to get into their commander again now. Don't like to keep the Bloodghast in the bin, because they could go for Graveyard Exile, but yeah, it's a necessary evil here, I think. There's a Solemnity. So that's usually a combo piece. Counters can't be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments or lands, and players can't get them either. Alright, read the bones. I think the first thing to do, because we're not going to get haste this turn, so the first thing to do is swing in at our opponent. Bolt them again, of course, and I think it's Rune-Scarred Demon. Not entirely sure what I'm going for with Rune-Scarred Demon. That is 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so we'll only have one floating. I think we can afford to go for the Inferno Titan here. They might have a spell that makes us pay 1, so is it worth the extra damage? I think it might be. Because then this puts them down to 9, which is a direct hit from Inferno Titan and a Lightning Bolt, so I think it's worth the extra mana there. Try the Rune-Scarred Demon. Okay, that lands, so a distinct lack of counter magic here, which is fine with me. Maybe it just has to be Grizzlebrand here so that we can... We've definitely got the 8 mana. 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, yeah. I mean, it's something they have to counter, and we can refill our hand with it, so I'll just go for Grizzlebrand, which is legal in 1v1 before any of you ask. Obviously this is the... I don't know if it's particularly obvious, but I think it is. This is the official Wizards of the Coast client, so if it wasn't legal I wouldn't be allowed to play it, but people always ask, so there you are. Elite Guard Mage, gain a life and draw a card. They do get into the extra land, so now they can cast their commander next turn. But I think we'll have lethal on them there. We'll force them to remove something that will take some mana away from them, because we just bolt the Elite Guild Mage or Guard Mage out of the way. Yeah, it looks like our opponent just saw that. So ended up losing our Chainer there. I didn't fancy our odds after that, but managed to squeak out a victory regardless due to our opponent's lack of counter magic. Counter magic's really infuriating to play against sometimes, so I can't say I mind our opponent not having any of that. Yeah, star of the show there was Recurring Nightmare along with the Bloodghast. Managed to keep us in some relevant creatures there, so hopefully you all enjoyed that revisit to Chainer. I'm Tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.